Definitely Maybe is the Oasis album that shot the band from a bunch of unknowns and burnage to a worldwide phenomenon, with such hits as Cigarettes and Alcohol, Supersonic, and Live Forever, and more hidden gems such as Sad Song, Slide Away, and Columbia. Every song on the album is a banger, yes, even Dixie's Dinner. Not only was the album a commercial success, it was critically acclaimed for Noel's lyrics and melodies, Liam's vocals, and the optimistic approach to rock and roll that contradicted the more nihilistic, self-pity attitude of American grunge music at the time. Its success led to an ill-fated trip to Amsterdam that got most of the band deported after a fight on a ferry, as well as a meth-powered gig at Whiskey A Go Go that led to Noel temporarily quitting the band, and eventually the release of their 90s defining album, What's the Story? Morning Glory. Before its release in the summer of 1994, however, Definitely Maybe was envisioned as a much more quiet and laid-back album based on the surviving audio recordings from its original sessions. There are 3 distinct sessions that took place during the album's recording: the Mono Valley sessions, the Sawmill Studios sessions, and the Pink Museum sessions. The earliest known session to make it onto Definitely Maybe was for the track Shaker Maker, having been recorded at the now destroyed Out of the Blue Studios in Manchester in February 1993. Although apparently the Pink Museum version was ultimately used on the album. In April 1993, the band signed with Alan McGee's Creation Records after he saw them perform a 4-song set at King Tut's Wah Wah Hut in Glasgow, Scotland, on the 31st of May 1993. The band weren't actually supposed to perform and only did so after basically forcing themselves onto the stage when the final band backed out. After gigging and building up attention, they booked into Mono Valley Studios in Wales with producer Dave Batchelor, who Noel knew when he was a roadie for the Inspiral Carpets, and sound engineer Dave Scott in December 1993. During those sessions, which included a stoned Liam Gallagher, Bonehead, Tony McCarroll and Paul Ashby meeting with Ian Brown of the Stone Roses at Rockfield Studios just a few minutes away from Mono Valley, 9 original songs were recorded along with 4 Rolling Stones covers, and the band went back on the road. During the recording of the song Slide Away, Scott was fired after the band clashed with him over the tempo of the song. One of the takes ended up on the released album, but among the numerous re-recordings of the song that were done, one was apparently 10 minutes long. According to Scott, another was recorded at the same pace as Comfortably Numb by Pink Floyd. This version of the album was a lot more toned down than the final version, with less aggressive enunciations from Liam and less heavy instrumentals from the rest of the band. After the sessions were mixed, they were rejected by the label and Batchelor was fired by the band soon after. They ended up going to Pink Museum Studios after the ill-fated trip to Amsterdam to start re-recording the album. Originally, Bring It On Down was going to be the first single, but was rejected by Noel due to Tony's drumming during the sessions. The rest of the sessions at Pink Museum didn't go great either. Noel grew increasingly frustrated at Tony's drumming. Although Tony was a talented drummer described as being autistically perfect when it came to timing and tempo, his overall style was not what Noel wanted for the sound. Of the songs recorded at Pink Museum, Supersonic, an incredible song with various contradicting accounts describing its creation, ended up on the finished album. Apparently having been recorded in one take with perfect vocals from Liam, it became the official first single. The band tried one more time to re-record the album at Sawmill Studios in Cornwall. This time, the sessions did not have a producer, so it was just the band and new sound engineer Mark Coyle, who let Noel record the entirely acoustic Married with Children in his bedroom. The sessions were again rejected by the label. In a last-ditch effort, the band's manager Marcus Russell contacted up-and-coming Welsh producer Owen Morris and gave him the freedom of remixing the Sawmill sessions. The label couldn't afford another recording session, but Morris did get Liam to re-record some of the vocals, resulting in much better takes than what was already recorded. Morris mixed the sessions at Matrix Recording Studios in Fulham, and after numerous rejections from the label, they approved the mixes and the album saw its release that August. And the rest is history. Oasis became one of the biggest bands in the world, had a steady career throughout the 2000s, the band broke up, and both Liam and Noel have continued to have their own successful solo careers with Beady Eye, Noel Gallagher's High Flying Birds, and rumours of Liam and Johnny Squire starting a band together in 2025 after the 2024 Definitely Maybe tour has concluded. 30 years later, however, not all songs have been recovered. Since the album's release was made up of a combination of rejected recording sessions and fresh vocals, many of the original sessions of Definitely Maybe have not resurfaced. As mentioned before, Slide Away ended up being the only one from the rejected Mono Valley sessions to have made it onto the released album, and is regarded as one of the band's best songs. The Mono Valley version of Bring It On Down was included as a bonus track on the 2014 Japanese re-release of Definitely Maybe and can be found on YouTube. The Mono Valley version of Shaker Maker was in Dave Scott's possession until it was apparently stolen, and will most likely be lost forever. In October 2016, a documentary on the band's 1990s heyday titled Oasis Supersonic was released. When the Mono Valley sessions were brought up, a snippet of the Mono Valley version of Cigarettes and Alcohol can be heard. As mentioned before, Liam's vocals were a lot softer and almost pure sounding. Also included in the documentary was a rare early version of the bonus track Sad Song with Liam on vocals. It only contains the first verse and chorus, however, and no full version is believed to have ever been made, and it is unknown which session it was recorded during. 2 months later, the sessions recorded at the Pink Museum were leaked online entitled The Whitfield Street Sessions, and the leak included a take of the B-side Fade Away and future standalone single Whatever. An early demo version of Whatever also exists on YouTube, having been uploaded by a fan in June 2008, although it is unknown which recording session this rendition originates from. In January 2023, the sessions from Sawmill Studios were also leaked online and featured an unreleased studio version of the band's cover of I Am the Walrus. Originally, this song was only released as a live recording claimed to be from Glasgow as a B-side to Cigarettes and Alcohol, although it was actually recorded as live in a hotel with audience ambience added in later. Not included in the leak was a version of Shaker Maker, which was apparently never even made. The rest of the Mono Valley sessions are the only sessions recorded for the album not to have resurfaced, including the Stones covers. It is unconfirmed if I Am the Walrus was recorded at either Mono Valley or Pink Museum. The Mono Valley sessions could still be leaked one day, although they are most likely in the possession of Noel or the label. With the exception of Shaker Maker, they might not be lost forever though. Child's Play is a cult horror classic and one of my favourites. There's been sequels, video games, comic books, and even television shows continuing the grisly doll murderer Chucky's legacy. Ignoring the shitty reboot with an otherwise perfect Mark Hamill in the role, Child's Play is a franchise that prides itself on being funny, dark, and downright horrific when it wants to be. When the first film was released in November of 1988, it wound up being a quite different film compared to what was originally put together earlier in that same year's summer season. The film had a slightly more comedic tone and a few extra scenes of horror. The deleted scenes from the 2-hour cut are as follows. The opening scene originally included Detective Norris in women's clothing while attempting to catch the film's killer Charles Lee Ray. Norris leaves a bar while Charles and Eddie Caputo follow him in a car. Charles gets out of the car, stalks Norris, still in disguise, and then confronts him in an alley. Norris then reveals himself and kicks Charles in the groin. Charles gets up, throws a trash can at Norris, and flees from him. This led to the chase shown at the beginning of the final film. The voodoo spell that Charles performs to transfer his soul to one of the good guy dolls had an extended chant that was cut short. While Andy shows Chucky his room, he shows the doll a photo of his deceased father, saying to Chucky, "This is Mum and my dad Bob. He died in a car wreck, but Mum and I loved him very much." Andy also shows Chucky the toy train he got. Andy was originally shown falling down a well during the explosion of Eddie Caputo's house, instead of the final film where Andy is only outside of the house and away from the explosion. The character John Bishop, also known as Dr. Death, performed a voodoo healing on an infant while dressed in voodoo priest clothes in Haitian Creole. He rubs an amulet on the infant, which is seemingly cured by the ritual, and then subsequently gives the amulet to its family to keep. The family then pays John and leaves shortly before Chucky arrives, leading to the scene where he confronts John and kills him with a voodoo doll. Karen and Mike visit the burnt-down toy store from the start of the film after Karen asks about Charles and they find a bunch of undamaged toys in the alleyway beside the store, explaining how a homeless man named Peddler found Chucky. Children's psychiatrist Dr. Ardmore places a normal good guy doll in Andy's room at the psychiatric clinic, attempting to convince Andy it's just a toy and that it's not alive. Andy is not convinced, so Ardmore leaves and locks Andy up. Chucky then stalks Andy at the clinic and he climbs up to Andy's window, so the child blocks it with a table, forcing Chucky to find another window to get inside. The film originally had an alternate ending where after Chucky breaks into the apartment to perform the ritual, Andy sets up an RC car with a knife taped to it. Chucky enters the kitchen and gets stabbed in the leg by the RC car. Andy finds Chucky and squirts Drano in his face with a water gun. This causes a chemical reaction with the plastic, causing part of Chucky's face to melt away, which may have inspired his scarred look in later films. Andy then squirts Chucky's leg and he hides away, eventually knocking Andy out by choking him with a slinky. Mike searches for Chucky and gets knocked out by him. Karen throws Chucky in the fireplace as several officers arrive. Jack grabs a baseball bat and knocks Chucky's head off, which rolls and bites an officer in the leg. Karen then shoots Chucky's body in the heart as he says, "I love you! Hidey-ho! Ha ha ha!" The officers collect the doll's remains as Jack tells them it was never alive and offers to buy them a drink. Aside from the aforementioned scenes, there was also a significant difference when it came to Chucky himself. He was originally voiced by the late Jessica Walter. It was her performance in Play Misty for Me that won her the role, but her vocal performance as Chucky was cut because director Tom Holland claimed, "I tried to use an electronic overlay in the voice, like a Robbie the Robot kind of thing because that's how toys with sound chips worked. Then I tried Jessica Walter, who had been in Play Misty for Me. She could make threats work, but not the humour. So we went back to Brad." This wording implies that Brad Dourif, the now famous voice behind Chucky, was originally temporarily replaced with Jessica Walters, before being brought back on board to finish the film. When the first cut of the film came in, it ran at 2 hours. When it was shown to a test audience, it resulted in very negative reactions. So 25 minutes were cut from the film, taking out most of Chucky's screen time. As mentioned before, Walter's audio was redubbed with Brad Dourif, and the new cut ran at 87 minutes and fared much better with audiences at test screenings. It was released in November 1988, and the rest is history. Several photos of the 2-hour cut can be found online. The only scene from the 2-hour cut to have surfaced is the alternate voodoo chant, which wasn't released properly until 2016 when it was included on the Scream Factory Blu-ray. The script for the 2-hour cut that includes the deleted scenes and alternate ending can be found online as well. While the other Child's Play films have surviving deleted scenes, no other footage from the 2-hour cut of the original film has surfaced. When the film's writer Don Mancini was promoting Seed of Chucky in 2004, he states that the original cut is in a vault somewhere in the valley, which leaves open the possibility that it wasn't destroyed and a potential director's cut could be released one day, perhaps even for the film's 40th anniversary in 2028. That's just my theory, but I hope it's true. Sesame Street is a certified children's classic. I never watched it myself as a kid because it's more of an American thing, but I've seen the odd episode and I understand the appeal. Even though it was mostly composed of silly puppets and simplistic musical numbers, it's heartwarming, educational, funny, and downright heartbreaking at points. What does Sesame Street have in common with more than anything, though? That's right. Lost media. Even Sesame Street's own wiki page has an article dedicated to it. The beauty is, though, since so much of it has been found, it's possible more could be found in the future. The most famous examples are episode 847, the Wicked Witch episode, and Snuffy's parents get a divorce. 847 was pulled from syndication and withheld from public consumption due to the controversy surrounding its original broadcast. Margaret Hamilton reprised her role as the Wicked Witch of the West from The Wizard of Oz, delivering a performance so convincing that children were genuinely terrified of her, and angry parents were sending letters complaining about the horror content. Despite being unseen for decades, with only a few screenshots left to preserve its existence, the episode was archived in 2019 by the American Archive of Public Broadcasting, although it was only available to view via the Library of Congress. In June 2022, the episode was leaked by an anonymous individual and is available online. Snuffy's parents get a divorce, however, remains largely elusive. The episode was designed to teach children about the subject of, you guessed it, divorce. Originally intended to air on the 10th of April 1992 as Sesame Street's 2,985th episode, fucking hell, Snuffy's parents get a divorce was pulled before airing after extremely negative reactions following multiple test screenings. It is notorious for being the only installment of Sesame Street to have never been aired even once on television. In the episode, Snuffy's parents go through a separation. Many children allegedly came away from the test screening confused and with mixed feelings. Some of them interpreted the episode to mean that their parents no longer loved them, while others were led to the impression that their parents, like Snuffy's, were also going to get a divorce. It was decided that the topic was simply too difficult for children of that age to fully comprehend, and the episode was scrapped entirely. Episode 2985 was shortly thereafter replaced with a repeat of a season 21 episode focusing on Janali helping Hoots the Owl in Birdland. Sesame Street eventually tried tackling the topic of divorce once more in late 2012, with the production of a limited audience video and resource guide, the first in their Little Children Big Challenges series, in which Abby Kadabi discusses her parents' prior divorce. Aside from the test screenings, the episode was not screened again for 27 years, despite being fully complete. The only physical evidence of the episode's existence was a single screenshot found in the 2009 publication Sesame Street, A Celebration, 40 Years of Life on the Street. On the 2nd of October 2019, it was announced that the Museum of the Moving Image in New York City would screen the episode alongside episode 847 on the 24th of November 2019, as part of a Lost and Found event celebrating Sesame Street's 50th anniversary, with a discussion panel with Jim Henson Legacy president Craig Shemin, former Sesame Street head writer Norman Stiles, and Sesame Workshop's Rosemarie Truglio. The episode still has yet to surface in full, although in 2021, Sesame Street, 50 Years of Sunny Days was aired on the 26th of April at 8 p.m, celebrating the show's 50th anniversary. The special featured never-before-seen footage of Snuffy's parents get a divorce. This clip resurfacing and fan interest may lead to the episode being leaked one day like its fellow controversial Witch episode. Despite these findings, many episodes of Sesame Street, approximately 53 in total, remain missing, as well as various segments. Although many segments have been found since going missing, most of them have been found in the form of low-quality VHS rips and in other languages, such as Spanish, German, and Arabic. Many promotional photographs, storyboards, concept art, and even screenshots of these episodes can easily be found online, and Sesame Street's Workshop archive is dedicated to recovering any missing material from their archive via any means. Like Doctor Who, for example, episodes 172 and 179, and possibly others, have 16mm black and white copies that were created by school teachers for the purpose of showing them in class. It's possible missing episodes exist in this format, or in VHS formats, or in the form of copies that belong to the estates of deceased actors who appeared on the show and kept copies for personal reasons. Broadcaster archives could still contain missing episodes, although this is unconfirmed. Unedited raw footage may also exist in archives somewhere. Due to the show's popularity and all these variables, chances of it being fully found once again are still possible, and I hope fans remain optimistic in this possibility. In the 1980s and 90s, Pixar put its focus on commercials for a better start for their company, as do many animators and animation companies starting out or continuing in the field of animation. Steve Jobs made this decision after the company had been losing a lot of money for years, opening up their commercial division in 1989. These commercials would gradually help the company become standalone and lead them to work their way to make a fully CGI animated movie. The commercial brands, like Tropicana, Listerine, and Lifesavers, were impressed by Pixar's shorts so much that they came to them to propose the idea of them making CGI commercials for their brands. These commercials were different in that Pixar would only produce the ads if they could be part of the creative development, whereas most animated adverts would only have the animation company just make the animation. Thus, Pixar was given much more creative freedom in advertising and in general. A lot of notable Pixar alumni worked on these in animation or directing, from the controversial John Lasseter, to the still much loved Pete Docter, to even the legendary horror fantasy director Henry Selick, with the same people working in the producing and technical directing department. The advertisement success helped Pixar gain $2 million per year from these, while continually getting exposure to the mainstream public. The commercial division was officially closed on the 8th of July 1996, shortly after the success of Toy Story. However, they did still make some commercials for McDonald's coinciding with the releases of A Bug's Life and Toy Story 2 in 1998 and 1999 respectively, and the company continues to make commercials with their characters to this day. Despite all of this, many of the commercials were completely missing for years, although after several discoveries, such as a rip off of an employees only DVD called Made in Park Richmond and VHS copies recorded by fans, most of the commercials have been successfully recovered, while only 3 remain missing, those being Dance of the Water Lilies and Galaxy for Top Hand Printing, and Logo for Paramount. There lies the hope that Pixar may release the entire collection of commercials on their Pixar Shorts DVDs, but until something like that happens, these 3 will remain lost. Gone forever though? Unlikely. If you've been following Lost Media for a long time, this one shouldn't be new to you. Produced in 2002, this unaired pitch pilot was created before Nickelodeon even picked up Drake and Josh for airing, meaning it wasn't actually supposed to be shown on television. It served its purpose and then vanished. Dan Schneider posted a clip on his YouTube channel, but the video was privatized, and for years, it was lost until it was finally mirrored by a fan who had archived it. Screenshots remained on his Dan Warp Twitter, now X, account and remained accessible. Stephen First, the original actor for Josh's dad, went unidentified for years until someone recognised and named him. The clip was discovered by Lost Media user AFX6010, finding that it was created in 2002, not 2003 as it was originally thought, and uploaded it to Mega. The footage indicates that, along with clear casting and set design deviations, the pilot's writing differed from that of the final version of the premiere episode to some degree. The video showcases a version of the basketball scene where Drake accidentally hits Walter in the face with the ball, knocking him out. In the final episode, Walter catches the ball and spins it on his finger before accidentally tossing it at, and consequently breaking, a ceramic lamp beside Drake. Dan Schneider later made the clip compilation of the Unaired pilot public again on his Dan Warp channel on the 16th of April 2022, possibly to celebrate the Unaired pilot's 20th anniversary. But he didn't state whether or not the full pilot will be released since it's owned by Nickelodeon. The video has been privatised again, although mirrors of the video have been made, and with these positive developments, it's entirely possible the pilot could be leaked one day, just as the Gibby pilot was in October 2023. In addition to the unaired pilot clips, several widescreen versions of the show's aired episodes have been recovered over the years, revealing that seasons 2 through 4, despite being broadcast and released on home media in 4:3, were actually shot in HD widescreen. Most of the footage has been sourced through comparison videos, clips, and promos, while some full episodes have been found in widescreen. Some of these aforementioned episodes are available to purchase on iTunes. Others have been featured in clips of Schneider's other shows such as Game Shakers and Zoe 101, the Season 4 opening titles, and official postings from Dan and Nickelodeon themselves. Episodes 1 and 2 from Season 2, 1, 2 and 9 from Season 3, and 8 and 19 from Season 4 have been partially recovered, while episodes 1, 3, 7, 11, 12, 13 and 19 from Season 4 have been completely recovered. With enough effort, the rest of these widescreen versions may not be lost forever, although given the controversy surrounding Drake Bell, it's uncertain if Nickelodeon themselves will ever officially release them. It may be up to people who recorded the episodes themselves or have their own private access to them. All That is another Lost Media curiosity. Described as being Saturday Night Live but for kids, this live-action Nickelodeon sketch comedy became something of an iconic show, even seeing the rise of Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell as teen stars that were eventually given their own fondly remembered sitcom. Since I was 11 years old and watching Blame It on Jorge for the first time, there have been some very positive developments for the show's recovery. Mainly broadcasting rights issues prevented the old episodes from being shown again, as well as numerous copyright issues and musical artist rights issues. Not everything has been found, but most episodes from the golden years have. Let's take a look, shall we? Since Jorge's famous Top 40 video, almost all of Season 1 has been found, except Episode 13, which is incomplete. Episodes 1, 4, 8, 9, 15 and 21 from Season 2 remain incomplete, but the rest of the season has been found entirely. Episode 18 from Season 4 is incomplete. Episode 23 from Season 5, Josh Server's Best Of episode, remains lost, but the rest of the season survives. Episodes 14, 16 and 19 from Season 6 remain lost, 2 of which are Best Of episodes, and Episode 1 has been partially found in an Instagram post, but is otherwise incomplete. Episode 2 from Season 8 remains incomplete, while Episodes 6 and 11 are lost. The most recent discoveries concern Seasons 9 and 10. While full episodes were recovered, they have since become lost again. All special episodes, except the Harry Bladder special, which is lost, have been recovered. Toon News was a comical 2004/2005 Disney animated series that ran for 26 5-minute episodes. It aired on Toon Disney for the UK, Europe, Middle East and Africa. It starred a cowboy robot newsreader called Smokey Silvers, who wears boxer shorts and cowboy boots, ably piloting the Toon News blimp that patrolled the skies over Toontown. He gave news to the audience following a short introductory segment. The show's format had Smokey narrating over edited clips of Toon Disney shows to try to make some kind of news story out of it, such as Aladdin causing a rock to hit Hercules, with Hercules subsequently suing Aladdin for reckless carpet flying. At some point in the series, Smokey's Scottish nephew Spike would come to join him, which Smokey would at first be quite disquieted and scared about, only to later confess in the next episode that he had actually warmed up to the idea. There may have also been a scene with the two hopping through a TV screen only to have Smokey get trapped. The show also appeared as a section of Toon Disney UK's website, although this doesn't exist anymore. The show was very positively received during its short runtime. It helped Kathy McDonald win both the Best Newcomer Award at Promax Europe 2005 and the Young Creative in Europe Award at Promax Athens. She initially researched for it before becoming the director, going on to write and direct all 26 episodes. She also co-created the two characters, creating Spike herself and helping develop the character of Smokey. Animators who worked on it include Johnny Grew, animation and prop modelling, Nathan Lord and Han Park, the latter of which refers to it as just Smokey Silvers, Mark Harrison was the producer, and Stuart Pearson was the executive producer. Smokey was voiced by Lewis MacLeod. Footage from the series online has been existent for years, but it was originally quite obscure. The opening segment of Smokey Silvers receiving Spike through airmail was uploaded by MacDonald and Harrison as an excerpt from the series, and this remained the only known clip for a while. A number of small clips can be seen in a 2004 showreel of Gru's, while MacDonald's 2014 showreel contains an opening segment with Smokey and Spike receiving jetpack items. A Portuguese clip promoting cars has also been found. When asked about uploading any footage of the show, Han Park told the person emailing him to possibly contact the two people who ran Lime, James and Nick. He then claimed he possibly couldn't go about doing it himself because it had been a long time and Disney owned the rights to it. However, Kathy McDonald eventually uploaded the first 3 episodes of Toon News to YouTube. Soon after, another channel named Kathy McDonald, possibly the same person with a second channel or an entirely different person posing as the show's director, uploaded 3 more episodes, those being the 4th and 5th episodes of Season 1 and the 7th episode of Season 2. Since then, Season 1 has been mostly found, with the only missing episode being Episode 7. The 7th episode of Season 2 remains the only fully recovered episode, while the other 12 remain lost. It's possible McDonald has access to all episodes and may upload them in the future, although the 4-year gap between uploads suggests that it may be a while before that happens.